Shoutouts to the Pimp God, y'all. Just listened to a few of his videos and it made me reflect. I had to take a mental and spiritual inventory of myself. And it made me reflect back on my life and the decisions I made personally and the decisions I made for other people, which I am proud of. But he said some profound things. He was talking about principles. And by the way, I'm going to put his link in the description box. So I'm going to give my little take on principles and standing on principles. So here we go. You shouldn't be ruled by your emotions, all right? Emotions are good, young warrior, young fighter, young champ, because emotion is energy in motion. But unless your energy or your emotion is harnessed or channeled towards something beneficial for you or others, your emotion can be your undoing. All right? So what's more solid than emotions? Boom. Principles. Principles are the foundation on which you can build other great things on. The principle is the Tetris block. Everything can be built off that one block down there at the bottom because it's everlasting. It's a principle. So what are your principles, champ? What type of work ethic have you dedicated to maintaining your principles? What type of application have you put in to maintaining your dignity, your sovereignty? How have you kept thy will sacred? And how have you kept it sacred for those around you who can't do it for themselves, such as small children or people who don't have all their sense or people who are just naturally weak or frail? You got to do it for them too. Everybody's not straight. You know, just like a chain, all them links ain't steel iron strong. So that's why you got to stay even stronger to keep your chain together because of the weak link. All right. And y'all, we all know what principle means, right? So just in case we don't, let's look it up. Let's look it up. I only got one dictionary here today. So this little raggedy Boggle dictionary that my brother be using. Definitions in here all short, but we're going to use it because it's the only thing we got. Let's see. Principle. All right. Thin ass pages right here. Yeah? That's how you know the thing ain't good. Got these little thin ass. Now, what the name of the dictionary is called a Student's Dictionary. www.dictionaryproject.org on it. Anyway, all right, principle, y'all. Principle. Now, a source or origin, a fundamental truth or doctrine. Principle. So it didn't give you an in-depth definition, but it gave you a good gist of what a principle is. What a principle is. Again, a source or origin, a fundamental truth or doctrine. All right? So y'all, we can say that the 10 Commandments are principles. Honor thy mother and father, so that thy days upon this earth land will be long and prosperous. You may ask, what if my mother and father wasn't there? What if my parents were pieces of shit? But see, that's where the principle comes in. The principle is to honor them, no matter how they are. It doesn't say you have to give them money. It doesn't say you have to bow down to them. You always honor them. Your father gave you life. He came out his nutsack. Your mother gave you birth. She nurtured you for 9 months. You should just at least give them that honor. If y'all can remember a movie, y'all, and it's crazy because I saw it recently and it tripped me out. It was a movie back in the 90s called Matilda, and Danny DeVito was the father. Remember how messed up that girl's parents were? And throughout the whole movie, you know, her parents were wild. They was always trying to force her to do stuff she didn't want. She was trying to read. They was throwing her books away. If I can remember, Matilda honored her parents throughout all the bullshit they put her through. Remember, she had her dad's back when the police was trying to get him. She was sabotaging the little people that was trying to get up in her dad's business. And yeah, she played little pranks on her dad and the glue on the hat and all that. But it was just that principle that she just honored where she came from. Even though her parents were subpar parents, she honored thy mother and thy father. So a principle, y'all, can be likened to an oath, a creed, a law, a universal law, a law that should be etched out in your heart, written on your bones, carved into your soul. So what's your principle? Will you keep it? Will you honor it? Apply it, y'all. Apply it or die. Principles never fade away, but people do. Lies do. Good feelings do. Cowards do. All that shit fades away. Principles are forever. Y'all, don't you want to be eternal? Don't you want to be, you know what I'm saying, infinite? I mean, you are, but win or die, y'all. Work or die. I'm about to get righteous with y'all for a second. Work or die. Y'all can remember in high school riding to and from wrestling tournaments on the bus. And, you know, we do our thing, blah, blah, blah. And we would leave and our coach would drive us back, our head coach. And sometimes he would stop for food and, you know, feed everybody. And hell, and sometimes he wouldn't. Sometimes he would stop, ask what y'all want. I'll take everybody to a different restaurant if y'all want. Get us whatever we want, a whole meal, the works. Then other times, we'd wrestle all hard, 2-3 day tournament, and we ride on the bus all the way back to where we was going from Virginia back home, from Kentucky back home, and he wouldn't stop not once to get us food. And we all go home hungry. And I remember, it was one time, I can't remember who was coming back from, oh wow. It was Deep Creek, Virginia. We was coming back from Deep Creek, Virginia. So it was like a 7-hour ride for us. And we were complaining about how our stomachs were hurt. Like, coach, we was got finished cutting weight. The tournament's over. And he turned around with a growl and yelled this at us. And I'll never forget it. He said, you don't win, you don't eat. The man said, if you don't win, you don't eat. And that stuck with me as a young, early teenager. That stuck with me. I was like, wow, we don't win, we don't eat. It sounds extreme, y'all, but keeping your principles is extreme. It should be the norm, but, you know, nowadays, you know, the society we live in, especially Western society. But y'all, you must do or die with your principles. You must do or die to uphold them to some sort of creed. You got to stand up to some sort of code. You uphold principles to keep up codes and culture and morals and families and things of that nature. And it's not just for you. You're setting an example for the ones who are with you. You are setting an example for the children and the ones after you. And this is how nations are built and sustained, y'all. Principles. Now, as I became an adult, you know, I went back. I used to talk to my old coach, my old teacher, and he would, and I would ask him about that, and he was like, "Man, yeah." He's like, "That's where I came up. You don't win, you don't eat." But he got deeper with me, you know, as I became more mature. And he was like, "Man, really, if you don't compete to your best, you know, then I don't want to do nothing for y'all." He was like, "Man, at that time, he's like, when y'all were doing well in high school and y'all could have done better, but instead y'all took third or took fourth." He's like, you know, that really upset me. So really in his heart, he was like, if you don't compete to your best, you don't eat. But, you know, young men only learn by strength and getting bust in the head. So during that time, he was just telling us, damn it, you don't win, you don't eat. But anyway, back on this, the nation building. Y'all, nations are built and sustained on principles. All right, universal law. They cannot be broken. They are eternal. They are everlasting. Well, if you choose to keep them that way. See, y'all, you can't build a nation or community on twee on a woman's vagina. You know, I call it twee. You can't build a nation on gold alone. You can't build a nation on lies. You can't build a nation on thievery, etc., etc., etc. You can't build a nation on shit. Excuse me, y'all. You can't build and fortify a nation on wild emotions. You can't build and fortify a nation on chaos. If you study history, y'all, the nations that came and went like the wind were short of those certain principles that we hold so dear and true. Whatever they are for you, you got to go find them out. But I start with nature first, you know, universal law, then form my own principles. You know, from usually a lot of them come from my discipline and everything, from the combative arts. But if y'all can think and study history, y'all remember nations like Sparta that came and went like the wind. And to be honest with you, I mean, modern day United States of America, what they say, there's only been a unified country for a little over 250 years, 270 years. And it seems like we already, that's a whole nother topic. But if you lack principles, y'all, you lack structure. If you lack principles, you lack discipline. So let me tell you how serious it is. You know, as a young man, it used to hurt my feelings and it used to confuse me. But as I matured, I saw that the principles kept me sane, and others respected me and the principles, even though they might not have liked the decision that I made. They might have been mad at the decision that I made or the words that I said, but they got over it and they respected me, or at least I think they did, and they respected the principle because, of course, they had to go with it because I wasn't doing it, y'all. If you stand on principles, y'all, sometimes you're going to have to tell your wife no. You're going to have to force your children to do certain things. You might have to tell your parents no. You might have to miss out or forfeit opportunities that may arise in your life because it may violate one of your principles. It may violate a universal law. It may violate one of your own things that you work hard towards, you know, for the past 5 years. It's that serious, y'all. Y'all, it's so serious that you'd rather keep your principle than live without keeping it. Keep your principle or die, I should say. It's that serious, y'all. I'd rather die or transition or leave up out of here than violate certain principles that I have. Honest, Paul, honest. For real, y'all. And I've missed out on certain things in my life, rightfully so, because I would not violate certain principles that I have personally for myself. And many have done that. We see history. We see the great people in history because of their principles. They were killed. They had to leave up out of here. If y'all can remember that scene from Scarface, where Tony Montana is telling the dude they're about to make a hit, and he's explaining to the dude, look, man, I don't do no damage against women or children. He refused to kill women and children. That was one of his principles. No woman and no kids get involved with this dope, with this bad shit that we doing. So I'm not going to take none of this shit we doing out on them. And if y'all can remember, because that was one of his principles, it cost him his life. It was that sacred to him. But what was the other principle he had? He said he don't break his word or his balls for nobody. And because of his principles, y'all seen the movie, y'all. Sosa sent out his goons, etc. Y'all know the rest. But stand on your principles. Stand on your principles, y'all, and you're going to have everlasting strength. You'll have true strength. You'll shine. You'll uphold the honor of your house, even if it costs you your life, y'all. Operate on the greatness of principles. Operate on great principles. What are your principles? Happy and holy holidays, y'all. Love and peace.